Cat burglar. Noun. A thief who enters a building by climbing to an upper story. Kind of like how Megsy baby climbs up the social ladder so she can steal from other folks. Well, now she's getting a taste of her own medicine. Let's get into it. Hello everyone and welcome back to my lair, Leilani of Barbados. We'll talk about this little one in a minute, but Meghan Markle's American Riviera Orchard has been hijacked. Let's get into it. Meghan Markle's American Riviera Orchard lifestyle brand name used to sell adult coloring books. The coloring books have already sold out. A Shopify page that uses the Duchess of Sussex's brand name is selling adult coloring books, including one labeled Working Class Royalty for between £8 and £16 depending on size. Okay, so basically this website has trademarked American Riviera Orchard before Meghan Markle got a chance to. And very importantly, they are selling products, albeit adult coloring books. On the face of it, you might say, this is very petty and silly. I mean, adult coloring books? What even is that? But I think it's very clever because they have this sentiment that they are very anti-royal titles on this website. They are saying that they are for the upliftment of women and they feel that women are their own majesties. They don't need to have titles bestowed upon them. They are their own duchesses and their own queens and whatever else. So that makes me think that this website is trolling Meghan, because it's not even something she can argue against, because it is for the betterment and building self-esteem in women in their own rights, you know? So she can't even fight it. And I think, yeah, this is very well planned. I don't think this is just some random person saying, I came up with these three names together, American Riviera Orchard. In fact, I think that is a very unique name, and probably Meghan did come up with that by herself. It just shows that Meghan really has no business acumen. Before putting out products, albeit jam and dog biscuits, she should have at least secured the domain name, which is kind of different from the other mistakes that she has made in the past. Okay, so we know in the past she copied The Boy and the Bench and called it The Bench. I think there might have been a payoff there because there was no legal problem with it. After all, she was still able to plagiarize them and there was no problem with it. However, that was definitely something she copied right down to the artwork and everything. There was also Archwell, which a Philippine company had already copyrighted, and they were selling perfumes and a whole list of things they were selling in the Philippines, and they had trademarked it. It was really interesting, this one, right? The Philippines one, because they were really quite chuffed that they had this link to Archwell at the end of the day, that their products would be much more publicized. You know, this is a huge deal. Filipino brand owner speaks out after securing trademark link to Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, and you can see he has a certificate of registration here. And I remember when this happened, 2021, and wait, what is really going on with his hairline though? Can we talk about his hairline? I'm sorry. He's a hairline thief. Hairline bandit. What is going on here? Anyway, he's really excited because he said at the end of the day, it gives him more publicity that he is linked to this Archwell thing. Yeah, but he was selling things before Meghan Markle out of Manila under the Archwell brand. Then we had the Archetypes Podcast, which was a name that was already secured out of Arizona from 2015. And that was a lot of backlash too. And the issue with the Arizona company is that they were selling mental health books and women-focused, you know, self-help books based around the same thing that Meghan was trying to achieve with her Archetypes podcast. More or less the same thing, you know, women's stuff, you know. So that didn't go down very well. And then you had the Sussex Royal, which was also a blunder because she was not able to use those particular words in that way in the domain name. And then once you click on the domain, it leads you to another domain. Girl does not understand IP and copyright, intellectual property. Meghan does not care. I think Meghan is very either self-entitled or very ignorant, and her advisors are also very self-entitled or ignorant, because how can you just pick names and then do your research? Everyone has to do your research and say, okay, let me secure Leilani of Barbados real quick because, you know, let me make sure nobody else has it. I know I might think it's special, but it might be somebody out there who has it. And the fact that she has so many people around her, so many advisors, lawyers, doing lawsuits and all these things. You can't ask one of them to real quick just do a check and make sure. So either she's doing the checks and does not care, or this just keeps happening to her because she's ignorant of it. However, she did do a whole check and merching and all kind of thing around Lilibet's name. Meghan Markle copyrighted Lilibet's name before birth of daughter. Appalling. Apparently, Meghan Markle copyrighted the name Lilibet for all products across all platforms before she was even pregnant with Lilibet, which makes her whole argument about speaking with the Queen about the name and how the Queen sanctioned her use of that name invalid, because it was even before Lilibet was thought of that she copyrighted all these things. So that was another thing she got found out on. And then up to right now, she is here trying to merch something else. She's in this Adidas tracksuit. I did refer to it in my last video where, you know, somebody's point of view was that they just bumped into her doing this, what looked like an advertisement to them. But yeah, a lot of people were really upset. They were like, oh, not another brand that we don't want to be anything part of, because Meghan Markle has now hijacked it, you know, the Adidas brand or whatever the case may be. Nobody knows what it is, but a lot of people are speculating, and up to now they haven't decided what it is that she was doing. But people are speculating all kinds of grandiose ideas, like that Beyonce has something to do with it because Ivy Park and all that. Ivy Park merchandise does not look like this at all. Ivy Park is very tight, form-fitting merchandise. The whole problem is that we never know what Meghan Markle is trying to accomplish when she starts out with projects, because at the end of the day she accomplishes nothing. Everything fails, it's all markled, and we never get to see what her real intentions ever were, which is quite sad, really. No one can even speculate at this point. But speaking of hijacking and merching and trying to do all these things, Prince Harry has been under fire since his last interview. Prince Harry opens up about dealing with grief in an emotional conversation with a war widow. And I don't think we really went through this properly. I wanted you all to digest it yourselves before I gave you my opinion. My opinion is that, yeah, he seems like a sociopath.
I sat later that night, I sat Kai down on his bed.
I think that if I was interviewed with somebody who looked at me like a statue and kind of gave me no feedback, but just sat there looking at me like this.
It sounds so corny, but I started to think, how many other children have had a parent who's died?
No emotion from him.
Nothing corny about that.
It's upsetting to watch it, to be honest with you, because I feel so much for her, and she apologizes for her emotions because he's not giving her anything, so she doesn't know if she's acting crazy. And then this old stiff robotic hug. Oh Lord. And that really disappointed me, because I was really hoping that if Harry was given this opportunity to talk to people, he could somehow make them feel more comfortable if that's really what he's going through and what he's having therapy for. But at the end of the day, it turned out that he was just kind of salivating over their grief. Yeah, I did see a comment from one of my lovely subscribers saying that Dan wouldn't call H's action grief corn. We have to say corn on YouTube, but you know what I mean. Indeed, I think that is what it is.
But the thing is, Harry has realised that when the going gets tough, all he has now is what I have described as grief porn.
You know, Harry can never have a podcast. There's such a balance between allowing somebody to express themselves and then also being empathetic to them and humanizing their problems and their emotions and what they're expressing. Harry doesn't have any of those capabilities. By the way, neither Harry nor Meghan have any kind of talent. Can we just say that real quick? Like, they have no way of making any money in this world if it weren't for their being adjacent to the royal family. And I think at this point, it just needs to be stripped. Strip them down to their bare bones and see what they're really made of, because it's not fair that they even get to come on public stages and literally weasel their way into people's lives without consent just because they happen to have royal titles. And that is what is going on here with this mother of slain US hero Pat Tillman's Slam's decision to honor Prince Harry with Sons Award. This lady is having none of it. She said it was without her consent. Prince Harry is so polarizing due to his behavior and Meghan's behavior as well, that she does not understand why ESPN would choose him. She said she was never consulted by the sports network to give the Duke of Sussex the the Pat Tillman Award, which honors the late NFL safety turned Army Ranger who enlisted after the September 11th terrorist attack. She said she was shocked as to why they would select such a controversial and divisive individual. So apparently Harry will receive the Memorial Award set up in the name of Pat Tillman, an American football star who gave up a £3 million contract to enlist in the army after 9/11. But the soldier's mother, Mary, said she was not consulted. Now, he is going to be given this award by none other than Serena Williams, who is Meghan Markle's pseudo best friend, at least on paper, in the public eye, or whatever. A lot of people don't think that there is a relationship between the two of them. I am one of those people. But in any case, after that, backlash, of course, grows. And so everyone else is getting on board with the mother of the war veteran who passed away in his service, saying, yeah, if she doesn't want it, we don't want it either. Many people think this is all an orchestration set up by Harry to deflect away from his problems in his legal fight. Okay, Prince Harry is ordered by judge, this is Justice Fancourt, to explain himself after being accused of deliberately destroying messages with Spare ghostwriter after launching case against the Sun newspaper. Basically, this is a case of the pot calling the kettle black. Justice Fancourt is saying if you're going to sue the Sun for phone hacking and nefarious ways of getting information, how about you show us those messages that were sent between you and this ghostwriter? Because if you're going to sue them for that, let's hope you have a clean record. Apparently there was a whole set of messages which were deleted under the Signal messaging app. I don't know if you guys remember, but a few years ago, everyone was saying, go over to Signal, leave WhatsApp and go over to Signal because it is safer. You can just delete your whole history. Whereas in WhatsApp, everyone knows that you can go back and get the archived messages for legal purposes or whatever the case may be. So he chose to use Signal messaging, which I think is a bit dodgy. I never took on to it. I didn't even check it out. When people were saying, yes, everyone move over to Signal, I was like, no thanks. I'm good. I have nothing to hide. But yeah, Signal messaging app, everything has been destroyed according to Justice Fancourt. And he said that it's inherently likely that matters would have been said by the pair, meaning Harry and his ghostwriter, that could be relevant to the case. Then there are also 2 hard drives which they have been looking for a long time, and they have found one in Montecito and one in some lawyer's office in California or in the UK. These hard drives have been said to have been lost, but now Harry's counsel is saying actually we do have the hard drives, and it's all looking like spaghetti at this point. And Fancourt is not a fan of the way that Harry has been conducting himself in this case. He has been dragging his feet, he has been hiding evidence, and it's not looking good for his case. And I do think that this case was something that should never have been launched. It's like a whole historical debacle of like whether or not he was hacked, and it was a waste of money, I think, when he could have been giving money to other things that he should care about at this point, if he did care. But he hasn't. He decided to spend all the money on himself, being this hero of hacked emails that nobody asked for.
His embarrassing old email addresses. Some of them aren't that embarrassing. SpikeWales@hotmail.com, SpikeWells@hotmail. And then there's BazaSales69@hotmail.com.
Yuck.
Which is just something that you don't expect from a prince. So you don't expect somebody to, it just is, it's not what we expect from Prince Harry, Mark, or is it, I guess you should say. But you know, this is one of the headlines coming out of, I believe, his son case. And, you know, just think before you sue, I guess, is the major lesson here.
I mean, just pearl clutching, honestly. Yeah, it's true. Like, don't play yourself. Do not go out there and try to be over smart, as they say in India. Don't be over smart. Don't try to trick people. These are very educated people. And this is where the entitlement comes in. And this is why people really sort of lose off favor with Prince Harry, is because he just seems to be following Meghan's entitlement, which is the blind leading the blind at this point, that they both get into these situations where they think they can trick the public. And they should both know better. We were never told exactly how crazy Harry was the whole time. And I think now it's all coming to fruition. It's it's also very evident in the way he presents himself and his behavior. Yeah, I don't know how much he's been influenced by Meghan. I don't know if he himself had a bit of Megnorant in him and a bit of Markled in him before he got on this American stage that he's on now. But yeah, people aren't having it. Nobody wants anything to do with him. Mothers of people are coming out being like, how about no? And you know, I feel very badly for them that they have to go through this at this time. I think that they need to maybe focus more time internally on their situations and their families, and stop trying to heist people's, you know, stop trying to piggyback off of people's. How about just stop? I'm sorry, I'm trying to close this out, but I just want to say, just stop, okay? Yeah, thank you so much for watching me. I love you all so much, and you know that. And please press the bell notification so you can see when I'm coming out with my next video. I have some exciting things coming up very soon for you. Also, subscribe if you haven't subscribed as yet, and press the like button, as it does help my algorithm. Oh, one more thing I want to say, yes, about that one, which I showed you in the beginning of the video, the little kitten. He is the newest addition to our family here, and I haven't figured out a name for him. My son is still weighing in as well. But if you have any ideas for names, please put down in the comments any suggestions you have for the name of the new kitty, and we'll do a poll maybe at the end of it where we decide like the top 3 names and decide what we're gonna name him. I would love to have your help with that. Okay, thank you so much for watching me, and I love you so much again. I can't stop loving you so much. Okay, love you. Bye.